with Dern, all bloodied up and his nose bent up. How was he during that fight sequence?
Yeah, when in between takes, he'd just go sit in his chair, kick back, tell jokes, have a smoke. Okay, Bruce, we're ready. Okay.
Hello. We're in for a treat today because we are talking about John Wayne, and we had done an interview with Bobby Carradine about his feature film debut, The Cowboys with Duke. All of you loved it, obviously, but said, we want to know more about it. We want to hear about Bruce Dern. We want to hear about Roscoe Lee Brown and what sort of shenanigans the little cowboys were doing. Well, he's a big cowboy now. Give a big hand to Robert Carradine.
Rob, good to see you. How are you, man?
I'm good. Thanks for coming.
You betcha. Hello.
Well, I tell you, your show that we had done before about John Wayne just went through the roof. People, I guess, always wanted to be with you as one of the little cowboys.
Oh, no, that's great. I think we were talking over dinner the other day about the scene with Bruce Dern when he takes the little kid and scares him into not telling that Bruce Dern is chasing the herd, and he drags him down to the river and stuffs his head underwater. That was not rehearsed or discussed. Bruce just did that. And when you see that kid looking freaked out, he is freaked out because nobody's saying cut. That's how that happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, he's a terrific actor, though, but he's always played villains with an edge, and certainly with the Cowboys, his edge made him hated by so many people for killing Duke.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when he first rides up and tries to solicit employment, he's coming off just peaches and cream, and then you see the turn. Mm-hmm. Well, you're a hard man, Mr. Anderson. Well, it's a hard life. I mean, just boom, they're into it. And they have that music that supports the bad guy.
They go, whoa.
Yeah,
his
John
theme,
Williams.
John Williams.
Yeah.
In fact, we were at a screening of the Cowboys and learned that John Williams score for the Cowboys is the one that Spielberg heard that made him hire John Williams to do Jaws.
Well, we've got the grandson of John Ford here.
Yes.
So I think he should hear the story of when John Ford came to visit the set. He actually was coming to visit Duke, but we were out on the range, for lack of a better word, with a lot of cattle, and they have a Chapman crane, which is this elaborate crane that's mounted on a 2-ton chassis, and they're going back and forth doing these crane shots, and we see in the background of one of the shots one of these Ford station wagons, which is what the Teamsters used to ferry people around in back then. Mm-hmm. Coming across the plain, big dust cloud behind it and all that. And, the word goes through the company that it's John Ford. And he pulls up, and Mark Rydell jumps off the Chapman crane, and he goes trotting over to the Ford. The window rolls down that much. He says, I hope you're a better director than you were an actor.
How long did Ford stay on the set?
I think he was there all day.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did you see him interact anymore with Mark Rydell during that?
I think he said, I wouldn't shoot it like that. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Well, Mark Rydell, I thought, did a wonderful job on that film, and he had directed some of the best hour-long Gunsmokes.
Well, I think he did do the Reavers and a couple other films that were really good. But I think as far as Westerns go, especially John Wayne Westerns, Mark directed one of the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And all you kids were fabulous, too.
Well, they were.
Well, you were the only.
No, I was squeaking by. Now, another story, I was 17, and I was living with my brother. He couldn't stay on set, to babysit me, to be my guardian. Mm-hmm. So we made an arrangement with the company that A. Martinez would be my guardian. So, Dave leaves, me and A are roommates, and, the first night resulted in the next day being slightly hungover, and that spread through the company, and all of a sudden I had my own room. That was pretty good, actually.
Well, in the sequence where Dern is getting the heck beat out of him by Duke, all you kids were there watching them film that. How long did that take?
I think that was 2 days. I think, well, John Wayne had more than one stunt double, and I think the one that did that sequence was Chuck Robeson, because he's the one that looked the most like the Duke. And that was all on a stage. We weren't actually outside. We were on a sound stage at Warner Brothers, which, if you look at the film, it's incredible what they used to do back then. I mean, nowadays, you just go on location and freeze. But, we shot that on a stage.
Well, it looks great.
Oh, I love it. I love that sequence.
Yeah.
As brutal as it is.
And with Dern all bloodied up and his nose bent up, how was he during that fight sequence?
Yeah, in between takes, he'd just go sit in his chair, kick back, tell jokes, have a smoke. Okay, Bruce, we're ready. Okay. He's a real pro.
Well, he's done some of the best work. I know that on the Big Valley show, he did, I think, 5 of those. And Arthur Gardner liked him, Barbara Stanwyck liked him, and you can see his roles grow through those 5 episodes, so that the last one that he does, it's basically a 3-hander. It's him, Barbara, and Lee Majors, who's trapped under a wagon.
Wow.
And it's just a wonderful performance. But he gave empathy, except in the Cowboys.
No, not a lot of empathy in the Cowboys. Listening to you talk, it reminded me of the sequence where we're trying to get the herd back. And there's one shot where we have to go down a dirt road, a mountain dirt road, which was pretty steep and pretty narrow, in a wagon, and we're all in it. I don't know if you remember, all the Cowboys and Roscoe Lee Brown are in this wagon, and they have a stunt driver hidden in the belly of the beast. And he's driving the wagon with wires that go to the horses. And Roscoe's got dummy, or not Roscoe, but whoever's driving the wagon has dummy reins. So I'm sitting in the back of the wagon waiting for action, and I see the guy reach in his pocket, take out a flask, and go glug, 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 and put it back. And I went, holy crap, this must be dangerous.
Well, what was Roscoe like?
Roscoe was not unlike he was in the movie. Eloquent, had excellent diction, incredibly smart, and funny. You wouldn't think that guy's funny, but he had the best jokes. Yeah, we had a great time with Roscoe.
Well, his timing in the film is terrific, too. He gets some big laughs in the movie.
Oh, yeah, no, you can see his timing in the show.
Yeah. In the late war between the states, I served under an officer just like you.
Is that right?
As a matter of fact, I shot that military gentleman in the buttocks, just outside Vicksburg.
The film was such a success that it spun off a TV series that you were in, and A. Martinez, and Moses Gunn, I think, replaced as Nightlinger in the TV series.
Right.
And Jim Davis was in that as well. What do you remember about the series? Because it's not in distribution. I've tried to get copies from Warner Brothers, and they don't even have any of them transferred. They're all on 35 millimeter, and they say, oh, it just costs too much. And I'd love to see those.
Well, I remember we did one episode where A. Martinez and I were in some kind of a fight against some bad guys, and either I was using a bullwhip or he was, but we had to throw the bullwhip to the next guy. And we had an instructor out there the week before showing us how to use it. And as a result, I learned to use a bullwhip without taking my ear off, which was really exciting. I also remember they had this really nice Peterbilt truck that they just rebuilt. It was a Warner Brothers truck, and I was in negotiations to buy it when they said, well, the show's not being picked up. And I said, that was close.
Well, it's too bad. It's a shame.
No, it was a lot of fun to do. We were on horseback most of the day, every day in Simi Valley. It was a pretty close commute from Hollywood Hills. Yeah, we had a really good time.
And you'd already bonded with A. Martinez from the movie, so you guys were just kind of having a good time.
We were. I talked him into doing the show.
Really?
Yeah, he didn't want to do it. And I said, hey, come on, man. you know.
Horseback riding, we'll have a good time.
Guns, catering.
You did another terrific Western that wonderful director Simon Windsor, who did Lonesome Dove, did Australian director, the remake of Monte Walsh.
Oh, that was a great time.
Yeah.
We were up in Calgary, and
on the CL Ranch, I think. Up there.
I think it was.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget this because I'd been on a few Westerns at this point, and I think it's the first or second day of shooting. And we're supposed to be shooting over Tom Selleck, my brother, a couple of the other cowboys, and me, down into this little kind of clearing where these Mustangs were just grazing, kind of in a tight pack. And so we're getting ready to do the shot. And the director says, you know what? Can we move that herd over like a foot? And Selleck says, why don't you move the camera an inch? That guy was gone by Friday. And that's when Simon Windsor came in, who had a weekend to prepare.
Wow.
And I don't know if you've seen the film, but it turned out really well.
It really did. That's a wonderful movie. In fact, all of Selleck's Westerns, especially the ones he did at TNT, have great tack, the look, the scripts, the production values are all wonderful.
You can check with Phil. He's a nut for Western firearms being right. If he can't find one, he'll have one made. I mean, he's incredible.
Yeah. So how long was the shoot up there in Alberta?
For me, it was 6 weeks. It was an 8-week shoot, but Selleck wanted to make sure that we were all done by the time he got to his scenes with Isabella Rossellini. So, yeah, she rode him home. Sorry.
Well, I want to thank you for coming back again and sharing your stories about John
thank
Wayne.
you for putting up with me, Rob. Y'all too?
My name is Rob Word, and we love bringing these programs to you. We've got a lot more scheduled coming up. We post a new one every single week, and we want you to subscribe, like, and share. Thanks for watching.